Okay, so I guess I'm just opening up for the discussion, see what questions you guys have. Do you have any specific questions or in general about the project and so forth? Because that's something we definitely want to target today.
Harshal,
Yeah.
I have a question about, I have doubts in shipping and warranty processing,
Okay,
those stuff. Mainly, most of the doubts are in like
in
some
those
of the
modules.
parts, yes.
Okay.
So why
Same.
don't we go, Herschel, to the main flow, the
Okay.
big flow that we had it.
Sure.
Right. So Dimple, what questions you have it in the main flow? So when you say you have most of them are shipping and receiving flow, this is the main flow now when you see it, right? Do you understand how everything links together here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So when you say warranty, right? So then you've gone through it, processing inventory, and then you're validating the warranty, right? So tell me what questions you have on warranty.
So, like, so when a shipment is received, so it's put into the system. Like, first, I think it's in the inventory step when we enter the, like, from where it was received, either a vendor or a customer, and along with the shipment number. So, and when we do the shipping process, like after inventory, when we do the shipping process, like after
So
finding a defect, so when we do the shipping, so then it is sent to a vendor. So I'm confused, like the vendor from where it is received.
Okay, so hang on to that, right? So let's talk through this process, right? Like it's, so I'm gonna like just talk it just in plain business process point of view, right? Not even a flow.
Okay.
So the whole business model here is, if you go to a store like Staples or I would say it's Office Depot, right? They take your cartridges from the printer, right? So if you already used up and if you have an empty cartridge, you can just go into there and give them to recycle, right? So what they do it is they send it to a central warehousing type of company, which essentially takes those and recycles it. Okay. So this particular business model that they talk about is either I will receive it, those empty or defective cartridges from a vendor, which in this case could be Staples, could be Office Depot, right? Or I would like it's receive it from individual, like it's, hey, if I want to, is it Dilip, I want to send it this inventory to them for recycling or reprocessing. Okay. So that's the vendor that they're talking about in the front end. So once you get that cartridges, now just imagine you are this particular business which is trying to do it. I receive the cartridges from a vendor or from a customer, right? Then I process them, and as I inventory it, I kind of categorize them into different categories, right? One is it's an empty cartridge, and I'm going to just invent, like it's kind of reuse it or recycle it. The other could be is, hey, cartridge is empty, but it's also damaged. So I'll take off some part like toner or drum, and then I'll go ahead and use that. Or the third option could be is, hey, there is somebody returned it halfway through it using it. So there is still ink left into it, but it's not printing properly. So I need to send it to whoever the manufacturer is to claim for the warranty. Okay, because most of the cartridges, like it's, if it's not fully used, they are typically, sometimes they are under warranty based on a time or based on how much ink is left in the cartridge. Okay, so when I kind of like it's go ahead and says, hey, this is warranty eligible, and now I need to send it to a vendor, which could be, in this scenario, could be HP or Brother or anybody who is manufacturing those OEM cartridges and selling it, right? So I will send them to claim the warranty money. And that's what this vendor on the other end of the process, which is in the shipping process. Okay, make sense?
Yes.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And like when they update the inventory, so when they receive a cartridge from a vendor or a customer, so they update the shipment number as well?
Yeah, because remember, like it's when I receive it, there's going to be some shipment number that they might have sent it me over. And all I'm entering it is I'm entering that shipment number there. Now,
Yes.
when I'm shipping it to the vendor like HP or Brother on the other end of that, which is on step 7 and 8, I'm going to have a different shipping number.
Okay. So
Right.
I was not able to find like the one shipping number during the inventory process, it will come along the cartridge. The other shipping number, which like how they are finding, executing, from where they're getting that shipment number, like while.
So if you look into the system, right, all it just creates it a shipping document. Right. So if you go into execute shipping process, right? So if you look into those screens, I think Herschel is this before that, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so look at this one, right?
Yes.
So the key thing that you need to look into it is, I may have a return merchandise authorization number from a vendor, right? So sometimes I may have to call them beforehand and says, hey, I have a defective cartridge. Where can I send? And they will just say, okay, I'm going to send you a written authorization number, and I will send you a shipment number that you can use it to ship it to me.
Okay, so it's not already defined in the system. So
it's not. If you look into Herschel, if you can go down a little bit on the field itself, scroll down more. Yeah. So if you look into shipping tracking number, right? It's not required.
Yes.
Right. So essentially, if I already have a shipment number from a courier that I'm supposed to use it to send it the cartridge for warranty, then I'll use that. If I don't have, I'll leave it empty.
Okay.
Right. So if you look into it, right, allow selection of a vendor that the warranty should be shipped to. And then if you look into the shipment number, it also just says, it allows me, if I have a tracking number, it allows me to enter that, but it's not required.
Yes.
So think about it. I don't know if you ever return anything from Amazon or not.
Yeah, I understand
right?
that. Yes.
So that same mode, right? You generate the return authorization number. And sometimes if they say, hey, shipment is covered from us, then they will give you a shipment number.
Yes.
Any other questions?
So far, like I'm good. Like as we go along the process, then I can ask like on whatever page we will go.
Yeah. I would strongly suggest is watch the video that Herschel has sent it out.
I saw that video. It's 45 minutes video.
Yep.
Yeah, there is a long one as well. I purposefully did not send you guys that.
Okay.
There is an hour and a half video as well.
Okay. So,
but I thought this one will give you some conceptual idea about the document. So. Okay. How about everybody else? Anybody else has any question on this process here?
Yeah, so in the warranty processing list, there is a field called filter phrase field. So I didn't get that. What does that do in the process?
Okay, so hold on to that. We'll come back to that later on. But let's talk about the core process. Do you guys understand how this thing works? Looking at this business process wise. the flows and other things. Okay. I'm just gonna go here to the next piece here, which is receiving flow. Does anybody have any question on the receiving and see how it works? Does everybody understand how receiving is supposed to work? It does have a description here. So hopefully if you read it, it should give you some idea. Okay, and this is a receiving screen here. This is what you will end up testing, or writing the test cases for, kind of like that type of screen.
And what is the PO number?
So PO number is, it says allow entry for the purchase order associated with the shipment. That's all it is. So it's an entry for purchase order number.
Okay.
Yep, it's a free form data entry field. That's what it is. And I believe it's, if you look at it, it's not even required field from that standpoint. So they don't have to enter it. It says required false here. So they don't have to enter purchase order field in order to create a receiving record. So if you guys have to test this, how would you go about testing? Now you are wearing the tester's hat. Have you guys thought about it? How many test cases on this specific screen you could have, or what type of scenarios you will look for here? This is the simplest screen in the system.
Harshal, for every field, we have to write the test cases for every field, or it will be for the whole screen?
So
Yeah, good.
Dimple, let me ask you a question, right? Can you just do a simple test case only for a one field if there is a form which contains 10 fields?
No.
Right. So again, you have to go back and say, what value it adds it, and what is the minimal test that I need to do it in order to validate what functionality, right? So for example, like it's right, you definitely want to do a validation for all the required fields to make sure they are provided, right?
Okay.
And then you want to do it to make sure every field can be accepted, right? And then any field that requires some sort of a business interaction or system interaction, you want to put it in there, right? So Harshal, if you go down a little bit, so each one has what's known as a business rules, which for the first screen, there is not business rules, but each one tells you what should be the information, okay? And then if you look into some of the actions, so it tells you what actions it should perform certain things, right? So when you click on the vendor or customer lookup field and somebody clicks on it, well, what action is supposed to happen? So you definitely want to create a test cases that allows you to test those actions, right? To see if they are working properly or not. So
whatever is specified in the event section, that those are like a core business user will do those type of actions on the form. So now if you go back here and see it, what type of actions there could be. So you need to write the test cases definitely for those critical actions,
yeah,
or the functions.
So Dimple, anything that you can think about, you can click and results into some action, whether it's a button or a field, you want to, like, it's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Again, what I would kind of recommend is read through it again, as I talked about, try to visualize it, what the system will be supposed to do it, and what action or events going to cause what results.
Okay. Does anybody have any question on this form screen? Or do you guys understand what we are saying here as far as the test cases and test scenarios?
Okay, so I want to ask you,
Sure.
so what is the difference between vendor and customer here?
Okay.
So
Do we have to specify that as well?
So Weber, remember what I talked about, right? As a staples, I can send it.
Okay.
Or as an individual customer, I can send it.
Okay.
Right. So if there are predefined vendors from where I'm accepting all those shipments, I'm going to put those as a vendor.
Okay.
Right. And one of the other thing I would recommend is look into vendor customer sections, right? Later in the system or in the requirements document, it talks about those.
Okay. Yep.
From the receiving standpoint, I mean, it could be vendor or customer. They could be sending them the shipment. So they will be receiving shipment from either of them. That's the whole reason you have vendor and customer list combined here. It says allow selection of vendor or customer that the product was received from.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So if I let me ask you guys one question here in general, because you guys are not generating much question here. So how would you verify that this listing's being displayed correctly here? Whatever the vendor or customer list is shown is correct, because that could be one of your test case as well.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go one step further, Herschel.
Yeah.
Right. When they say it's an element E01, right, which is a customer lookup field, so
Yeah.
which is the 3 dot next to it. When that clicks, what happens? Right.
Yeah.
And from where I get that information. That's the event, right? So that's what you have to tie the pieces together. And that will only tell you, like it's to answer Herschel's point, it'll tell you, hey, what should be in that list and how do I verify that list?
Does anybody have any thoughts?
So when we click on these 3 dots,
Mhm.
so after clicking on the 3 dots, this list is will get displayed on the screen.
Right.
And out of those, we have to choose one.
Okay.
So this is the
that's the process, right? But as a tester, you need to make sure the functionality is being built properly, right?
Yes.
So developer is showing some list over there, but how do you know that list, whatever is shown over there is a correct list?
You mean to say like it's here in the screen, it's vendor 1. So
well, on the screen, it's a mock-up. Remember, this is not a system, right? It's just somebody mocked up a screen. This is how it's supposed to look.
Yes.
But when you actually get actual system, and when you execute your test case, or when you actually, so you need to make sure this functionality is working correctly. But if I click on 3 dots, I'm supposed to see vendors and customers.
So first we have to go into vendor and customer section, add some vendors and customer into that.
Yeah, so Dimple, I think it's what Harshal is trying to ask you guys is, let's say I'm running my test case and the first step is to click on that 3 dots and I clicked it. That's going to populate some list on the right-hand side. What he's asking, how do I know for sure that whatever is populated on the right-hand side is the right thing that it should show up?
Yeah, so like whatever the customers or vendor we will add into the system, they're supposed to be here.
Right. So, but how do I know what our vendor and customers is present in the
So
system? Where do I see it to make sure that if there are 5 vendors present, it shows up here?
Okay. So, but like if it's a fresh system, if I'm talking about first, I have to generate the data.
You're not going to have always
Okay.
luxury of fresh system, right?
Okay. Okay. So there is a list, vendors and customer list.
The module, you are referring to the module, right?
Yes.
Is that what you are referring to? Okay.
Yes. So from there, I can see like these are the customer or vendors in the system.
Okay. And if you add anything new, would
there
that
is
be reflected here?
Yeah, that should be reflected here.
Okay. So that's the kind of like a test data you have to prep. That's the test data preparation. Or you need to add those things in the steps when you write the actual detailed test cases. Specifically, when you say, I'm verifying these three dots, the functionality is working correctly for showing the vendor and customer list. So when you write detailed steps, yes, so you need to include those, but that is the right way to verify that. And if you look at it throughout this document here, or the functionality, you will have those type of test cases pretty much on every module. There could be multiple test cases like those. So there is some other module you have to set up the test data on and refer that in your test case here for this module. And that's how it's going to be in the real life as well. Other systems, you will see half of the systems kind of like a build this way. Okay. Hopefully everybody is getting the idea about that. Okay. Any other question on this module? If not, I'll move on. Okay. I think as we mentioned earlier, events are the triggers or the business process type of thing. Make sure your test cases reflect are built on top of the events. Basically, you're writing your test cases of the events.
Harshal, so elements will be the data.
Yeah, they are just data elements.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are just data. So I mean, you don't have to write the test cases on can I enter value for PO number. That doesn't add any value. Right?
So in earlier what we did, so like if there is a field we were testing, if it's accepting a number or accepting alphabets like that. So in this case, we don't have to do those kinds of stuff.
No, I would like you guys to focus on the core business process type of test case, functional, not the validation. I'm sure you guys can write the validation one. Something is required or not, right? I mean, you can have one test case. You can just write it and make sure those fields doesn't let you add anything new or click on process another or anywhere without entering that information. So that's kind of like a one test case you can have. Okay, but the main important part is, can I test this? What happens when I click on this type of things, this type of events? What business process it triggers? What happens if I do process another? But the other, you have to supply the data elements. You have to enter the information. But the important part you are testing is core business functionality. Okay, so this is a second module, Cartridge Inventory Workflow. Anybody has any question on this? Specifically, let me go to the screen here so that you guys can see it. And hopefully you guys see the pattern here. You click on here, 3 dots, and it opens up something related list of values and so forth. So instead of having the drop downs, think it that way. Since this is a touch screen enabled screen, they have 3 dots and it opens up something on the side instead of the drop down list and scrolling and picking it up from there.
Can we enter a new customer name if it is not provided there?
It's a lookup, right? So you need to think it that way. What type of field it is? Can I enter free form or it is restricted entry? See, it says the from lookup field allows the selection of customer or vendor. So you cannot just simply enter the customer information over there. But those are some of the things you have to check.
Yeah, but if you want to add a customer, right? So think about it, where you would go and enter it so that it shows up here. Right? Goes back to the first module that we talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
If I don't find a customer here, I need to figure it out where I should add it in the system so that it shows up here.
Okay. Any question on this screen? It's a busy screen. And you can easily have maybe 30, 40 test cases right on the screen here. So. Okay. No question? Okay. Do you guys understand how the screen, what's the flow here?
Harshal, can you please explain the description, record and size and
Description, what are you referring to? Are you talking about on the screen anything? Or the flow that we have here? So imagine, I mean, the business process wise, right? So if you go back to this first screen here, so they will receive a shipment. It could be a box, it could be a skid, or it could be a case of full of cartridges.
yes,
right? So they will enter certain basic information. So kind of like a box will have some type of label, where it came from. So that would be the vendor customer. What is the tracking number? What is if there is a PO information on there? And how many quantities, how many cartridges they sent in a box. So they will capture here. And until then, so they could receive multiple shipment, right? So they will go to the process another if they receive maybe 3 boxes. So they will enter first one, second one, third one, and then they are done at that point, at the end. Now, if you look at the flow for the second one, so now they have all the individual cartridges. So what they are looking for is a warranty information, right? So here on this particular module or the screen, they are trying to input individual cartridges that came from that boxes or case or skin, whatever it is. So they are noting down every cartridge. What is who is the manufacturer? What is the manufacturer number? What is the is it OEM cartridge or non-OEM? What is MICR? What is the weight of the cartridge? So they will measure the weight as well. And depending on that, and they will capture additional data elements. Is it damaged? If not damaged, then is it warranty eligible or something? If it's warranty eligible, then it will generate a warranty ID here. for the cartridge. And then at the end, if they process one, they will say, oh, box is full of box at 10 HP cartridges. So I'll say, and they all are same model, then they will say just click on identical. So it will clear out certain fields on the screen, but leave certain fields because they don't need to capture, re-enter everything like customer, what is the shipment number, transaction code, and certain things. They might just have to fill out only the weight and other things for the different cartridge. So you need to look at the business events, what happens when you click on identical versus different or versus from start, and test out those things. So that's the process in a nutshell of what I explained you here. So if you go to the event section, right? So these are business rules. These are lookup fields. What happens when you click certain things? Yes. Does anybody have a question? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So you have this different buttons. That's what you are testing. Like identical button. What happens? What fields it's clearing out? Different button. So it will probably clear out. If it's a complete different cartridge, it will clear out certain other information from the screen. So they will go through that repetitive process until they are done with the box, whole box. And at the end, they will say, yep, I'm done. Shipment is done. They will click on shipment complete on the screen, and they will take another box on it and start the process all over. Okay. So you need to think it through from that standpoint. So shipment complete is here. So if they are done with all the cartridges in the box, they will just click on shipment complete, and it should clear out pretty much everything on the screen. So they can pick out another set of box or another box and start processing cartridges one by one.
Okay, so if the box has like 10 cartridges and they have done already with the 5, so is there any option here, like if they want to like hold for some time, so what they're going to do?
Yeah, they will just they will come back again and they will start over again. So they will have to pick out this field, certain fields again, right? That all it's saving is the data entry time.
Yes.
When they say identical, different, or from start, because it's clearing out maybe this top 5 fields or certain fields, because if it's a different, that means they have to completely enter. It could be different manufacturer as well, and so forth. So they will fill out this information again.
So this will also be a test case, like if they have done halfway or anywhere in between the cartridges. So when they will start the process from the starting.
Yep.
So in the test case, we have to look up, okay, already 5 cartridges were in the system. So I have to go into the database and see where are those, the system has stored 5 cartridges or not, like that.
You can certainly verify it when you are entering it, right? In the database and run a simple query, whether those cartridges are being saved or not.
Okay.
Now, what I would like you guys to focus is look at the business processes or business rules for this process type of thing, right? Identical, different, from start, cancel, done, what happens, shipment complete, what happens. Now, Dimple, you can certainly test the scenario that you mentioned.
Okay.
And write the steps for it as well. So there is nothing wrong with it, because that's the ideal scenario as well. They might be processing something else, and now they are coming back and entering again remaining cartridges. But those are business processes, right? Business type of thing. So those are the ones that you need to write the scenarios for.
So Herschel, in business rule, there is different, when we click on different button, it will start from the category.
No, the business rules they're talking about is shipment lookup. What happens when you click on shipment lookup? So that's the rule. It shows a customer list here, right? This customer lookup. It shows shipment lookup. What happens when you click on this button? It should show you all the shipment that came in through the receiving module.
Okay. So yeah. So not in business, but in elements, page elements, or somewhere.
Yeah,
No,
there is. Think
so
it,
Herschel, if
yeah.
you scroll it down, right, to Purvangi, what you're trying to do it, see, these are the elements, right? So this is the fields that you can
Yeah.
think of it. And then there is an event section, right? So
I think this is the one a little bit down.
yeah,
Yeah, this is the.
this is
Oh,
the
it
event,
is
right?
still, no, hang on. Okay, business rules
Business
are
rules,
here,
yeah.
right? What happens if those are rules here?
Yeah, so Purvangi, to answer your question, right? You
Mhm.
have to look through this document in the sense, E is all signifying the data entry form, right? The rules, anything which is with R associated with this form are the rules. And then if you look into it, there is an A, which is the actions. What happens when I click on certain things, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to focus on, as Herschel said it, it's definitely data entry. It's the elementary testing, but you definitely want to make sure all the events and all the business rules are working as expected,
Okay.
right? So it also tells you what all should happen, right? So for example, look at AO5, right? When I click on the non-OEM button, well, what should happen? That's what it described. Clicking on the OEM button causes the remanufacture lookup field to be displayed, which is E11. So you go back and look into it and says, what is the E11 field is and where the data is coming from.
Yep. What
So
happens on the weight calculation as well, and so forth. Yeah.
yeah. So what I want to ask is in A18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different button, right?
So yeah. So when we click on that, it goes in category, right? So it shouldn't. I mean, it should start from the starting, right? It's different. So do we have to check that, or it's
No,
like,
so
this is correct and we have to go like this?
no. So what this field tells you is you have a different button on the field, right? If I click it, right, what it does it submits all the data into the system, right? So which is similar to your save button, which, hey, I'm going to do that. But then on top of that, I'm still going to stay on the same screen, but I'm going to clear here are all the fields that I need to clear it out.
Okay.
Right. So it's kind of like hey, I'm processing the same thing over and over again. There's no point for you to take me to the different screens, right?
Yeah.
Because then I have to go back to that. So all it tells you that, hey, I'm done processing this. Now I'm ready to process another one, but it's a different type of cartridge.
So one cartridge could be from HP, right? So box may not have all the cartridges same. So one could be from HP, one could be from Dell. So here, if you process bunch of HP ones, now the Dell one comes in. That's where you're gonna click on different because your customer, vendor, and other things are still same at the top. So you are just clearing out the certain fields so that you don't need to. You have to enter. Basically, you don't need to do complete read and data entry again.
Okay, so the vendor is same, but the product
Right.
is different.
Yep. So you are clearing out only these fields at that point, and then so if you look at it here, right? Come back here. So you still have this other information at the top, same. So what it's saying is now get rid of manufacturer, clear these fields out at the bottom one, starting from the manufacturer or color even, category and so forth.
Okay, so
I think it
I
starts with
thought
the
that
category.
when we click on different, it will be a totally different vendor. So that's where I got
No,
confused.
that's what you need to look at the rules. I think from the start that could happen because now you are starting over. It's a completely different thing and so forth.
Okay.
But I think you got the idea, right? I mean, because that's how it works in the system.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just want to make sure. So different from start, submits all data, then clear out of all the page fields and selection return cursor from the from lookup field. So it will go to the top and it's a empty form essentially, where they will start picking out. So if I look at here, start from the from, which is, so it's empty form, it will be at that point. Okay. All right.
So, Harshal,
go
there
ahead.
is one more events, or I don't remember that, but there is something called core thumbnail. When we click on it, and it will bring us to another page where the pictures, images will be there.
Yes. So here on this, right? So this is a different view of the same page. So sometimes they may not be able to recognize the cartridge. So if you look at the cartridge inventory in the cartridge module, they actually store the images. So they will compare with these images here and try to figure out what type of cartridge or model it is, basically. That's all it shows, like a show pictures, and it will show whatever the manufacturer is selected here. It will show all the models and the pic along with the picture, so they can pick one from there.
So how do we check that these are the pictures, correct pictures, just like the vendor and customer?
But have you looked at the cartridge module?
Yeah.
How they set up the cartridges in the
Mhm.
system?
Yeah.
They have a place to enter the picture as well, or select the picture when they set
Okay.
it up.
Okay.
Yep. So again, it ties to that particular module. Okay. Okay. So this is again the same module here. So now, so once they have the cartridges are entered in the system, now the actual warranty comes in the picture. Okay. So let me come to that particular screen here. Does anybody have any question on this process or the screen?
Harshal, can you go back to the process?
Yeah.
So in this one, we have step number 6.
Okay.
5 or 6, give credit to the customer. So it is referring to the customer or vendor from where the it was initially received.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And step number 7, credit received from the vendor. It is the manufacturer to whom the shipment cartridge is sent
Yeah,
to.
it's received from, right? So once they ship it, and they will check whether they received the credit or not, and so forth. But again, let's go to the screen here,
Okay.
because one thing I want to point out is these screens are not like a separate things. Okay, so flow wise receiving, then you have the inventory module, and then the information will flow to this particular module, the warranty module.
Okay.
Right? Because they all are interconnected. Unlike the Rflown, where Rflown was also connected as well. Certain information were connected. But here, the warranty ID, now do you guys understand how the warranty ID is being generated in the earlier steps, earlier processes? So that
Yes.
would be important.
Yeah.
Okay. How about other folks? So if you go back here, right, warranty information, because if you don't understand this part, then there is nothing else you can test in the downstream functionality wise. So warranty ID, you can see it here. It is displayed here, but how do you get to that? That's where you need to look at the rules. What rules will trigger warranty ID? So if you look at here, warranty ID display the system generated warranty ID if cartridge is found to be eligible for warranty. But what makes it eligible? That's where you need to figure out as part of the process here. So if you
I
go,
think, Harshal, it's weight dependent. Like if
that is exactly correct. So you weight the cartridges, right? Individual cartridges,
Yeah.
and depending on the weight, system will determine whether it's a warranty eligible or not. There are certain tolerance, full weight, empty weight, % tolerance, right? So depending on the calculation, system will identify whether it's eligible for warranty or not. Now, as I said, what is the full weight? What is empty weight? Hopefully you guys know where that information is coming from, and how system will calculate the warranty here. Anybody knows? Anybody read through whole document? What is the full weight? What is empty weight? And where it's coming from? What module?
Empty weight is 80, I guess. 80 and full weight is 130.
Where did you see that 130?
So one page, I don't remember the page number.
So I'm just searching for it. Somehow it is not finding it here. Okay. But if you go to the cartridge module, so this is customer and vendor. See again a different one. Okay. So for every cartridge they set up in the system, they will also assign a full and empty weight, % out of compliance, as well, or kind of like a tolerance as well. So they will specify those numbers. Okay. And that's what it's being used to calculate whether it's a warranty eligible, actual cartridge is warranty eligible or not, based on the empty weight and full weight, which is set up in the cartridge module. Okay. So if you go here, they are setting up the different model numbers manufacturer for every manufacturer and so forth. Okay. So you need to relate this information. That's the whole reason we ask you guys to read through the whole document. Scan through at least to see if you can figure it out. Okay. Okay, so once it's warranty eligible, then only you can see those cartridges here for warranty processing. If it's not warranty eligible, you probably won't even see it here, those cartridges. So any question on this one now, since I explained a little bit more here.
So I have a question. So if the warranty is not eligible, then it won't create ID at the first point, right?
That is correct. Yep. And here, because what they
Yeah.
will do is they will probably throw it out because they can't do anything with that cartridge. Okay.
Okay.
Because they can't claim the warranty, so it's of no use. It's a simply entry cartridge. They might just recycle it or do something else with that. But here, if it's warranty eligible,
Mhm.
then they will try to identify what problem it could have so that we can claim the money for. That's what they are trying to do on this warranty processing here.
So
Okay.
then parts recovery and process as a core, what these buttons are used for?
Yeah, so if the cartridge is still like within the half empty, right, they has to have certain things in there. So they will check it here. They will say, okay, it's a hooper problem, drum problem, it's a defect.
Mhm.
Now they will manually inspect the cartridge as well, and they will say, yep, it's definitely warranty eligible. Then I'm going to ready ship it back to the for claiming the money. So that's where they will mark identified by clicking this ready to ship. But if they determine that drum is really bad or they can't do anything with the cartridge if it's broken, then they will say, oh, we just maybe use the parts there. Maybe there is a good part, so we can recover, market for part recovery and put it in a warehouse. So somebody will disassemble certain parts and maybe sell it in some other place. And process as a code is simply they are not able to do anything. Maybe they will decide in the future. But again, it's putting back in the inventory. It's of no use, maybe. That's all. The important part is ready to ship. That's the only thing they can claim the money for. That's what if you look at the is defined as ready to ship. That's the only thing that could trigger the shipment item. Submit the information. So you need to analyze, read through what it is. System, the warranty process has been completed. Cartridge can be shipped to the appropriate vendor. Okay. Play and what happens afterwards once you click it. What happens when you click process a score?
So in the elements,
yeah,
EO8. So in the required field, it says not eligible. Like
EO8, you are saying, okay?
Yes. So
because it's a button, right? So
yes.
it's not a required. So they don't have to take that action. It's a button, right? So button that does not have required or not required. That's the reason it says not applicable here.
Okay.
But if it's a data entry field, data entry element, that means they have to enter something over there. Okay.
Okay. So in this one, even the warranty ID lookup fields, they say it is not required.
Yeah. So that's something I think you need to clarify. And here I would say it is required. There is a mistake in the document at this point.
Okay.
Right. Otherwise, there is no point of doing
testing
anything.
this
Yeah.
field.
Yep. So it's a correction in the document.
Okay.
Okay. Now, again, you can see there are a bunch of test cases you can do here. Obviously, where the defect list come from, you need to think it through. And what happens if I click on Hooper problem or something? How is this list correct, and so forth. So just think it through. I mean, when you are actually, we are giving you a little bit more hint than we hope wanted to give, but hopefully this one will help you if you are working on testing this particular module.
And not just in this system, right? It's in general. When you're testing certain functionality, you want to know what triggers this functionality to start and what happens after this function is completed, right?
Yep.
So if you look into it, there are a whole bunch of screens that is put it like I think it's what function 01 through function 28 or 38. You want to make sure you understand the map of what triggers when, right? So what happens that when you click on this thing and say it's ready to ship, well, what function gets executed next after you click on something ready to ship? Where does it point you to, right? So for every event, you want to try to understand it is from this screen, where can I go? Remember how we had a page flow into the RFlow? There is also a page flow here, but it's described in words. So if you want to create a visual, and if that helps you, then you should do that.
Okay. Any other question on this particular module here? Today is you guys' chance to, ask this question. So I want to make sure. Yeah.
So we have also other modules related with warranty.
Yep.
So like this is page FO4, the next is FO5. So like
FO5, let me go there.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's the relationship?
So that's, I want to know, like where should I go to, like where should I click to go into this button?
So that's what Dimple, where I was talking about.
Yes.
For
So
every
when-
field or every screen, what you want to do it is what it clicks it and where it goes it.
yes. So ready to ship button, it pop up like after clicking this button, it will takes you to the E01 on the same page.
But that's what it is. It's trying to process you the same thing. But then you look into the next screen and says, where did you get that data from?
From this screen.
Right.
After
So
saving the data.
when you process certain thing on this screen, it stores it and it appears it, just like your customer and vendor field that earlier we were talking about. How does that list gets populated? Well, it gets populated when somebody enters a new customer or new vendor through the vendor list functionality. Right. So what happens when you do a ready to ship and process it? Well, where does that data go? How do you know? Remember, we talked always about the validation step. For example, if I'm creating a new user in Airflow, the best way for me to validate it is either log out and log in as that new user.
Mhm.
Same thing. If I know, hey, I just clicked on ready to ship button, then how do I verify that it actually worked? Where would I go and see that data? That's how you build the relationship between those screens. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
So suppose in the page 4, FO4.
So think of this way, right? In FO5, in this particular screen, there is a list showed up, right? With RAs 152, tracking 12585, some warranty ID, some vendor, and some shipment date. Well, how did that information came here?
Okay, so like first we will do page FO4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, what I interpreted, so all the data should go to page FO6, not here.
Sure. Yep. Okay. FO6.
Yes.
Okay.
So here, when we save the data and we choose the shipments from the list here, like
Okay.
this is a list which are ready to ship that we did already on page FO4.
So what happens is you come here and there is a new warranty shipping list, right? So that's
Yes.
what it will trigger. So you will
Yes.
still come here, but when
Yes.
you say new, it will take you to the FO6 here,
Yes.
which is where you can pick out, okay, what type of warranty items I can claim. And so I'm going to start filling that out here.
Yes.
And so forth.
Yes. So
Right.
once I save the data here, then it will go to page FO5 in the list.
Yep, that is correct. I think you understood that correctly, Dimple.
Okay.
And then, so you come first initially when you come, there may not be anything here, okay, at the
Yes.
bottom. So you click on new and it will take you for selecting, okay, how many I can, because you are not sending one cartridge at a time. You might be putting it in a box, maybe a bunch of cartridges for same manufacturer and putting it in and then creating one shipment for them. That's what you are doing on the FO6 or different second screen. Once you save that, then you can come back here and here the same information will be shown. And then you can say, okay, I want to email out the document to the vendor or print out certain documents before I actually ship it. And
so
that's all.
In this list, I have a doubt. So if we have a column ship date. So
yep.
The items haven't been shipped yet. So what is this date?
So this one would be let's see if they have specified here. It should be the shipment date. Display the date the warranty shipment was sent to the vendor. Okay. So when you bundle it up, that's what it could be, because I don't see any other place to enter it. So it could be system generated date because there is no date here.
Yes.
Right. Or anywhere else on the other screens as well, because this is tied to it. This is just showing you the expanded one and so forth. So I think it could be system generated date when you created the shipment. So that's a clarification point, and it's a good question. I mean, so I think that should be the system generated date whenever you created the shipment.
Okay. So when I click this button here, save.
Yep.
So
it should automatically populate, yeah, that particular date.
And I have also a question on this screen as well.
Okay.
Just give me a second.
While she's looking up, anybody else has any question, or do you guys understand the process here?
Harshal, you might want to keep a time also in the mind if there are
Yeah.
SQL related questions.
Yeah, I think let's work through this one, Dilip. I'm thinking we will have time on Saturday as well for the SQL stuff as well. But let's see how far we go today on this one.
So, okay, so we have 6.12.2.
Okay. 6.12.2. Okay, so it's related to this one. Or 12.2, you said, okay. All right. Well, what is that you're looking for, Dimple?
It's a business rule.
Oh, business
6.12.
rule section. Okay.
So here in this list, it says the items to ship list is only populated with the items that are marked as ready to ship,
Okay.
and are associated with the vendor selected in the ship to lookup field. Like first, when I will select a vendor.
Yep.
So if I have selected vendor 1, then only the items which are supposed to send to vendor 1, they are supposed to be here in that list.
Let's see here. Selected vendor selected in the ship to list. So looks like that is the case.
Yeah, so if you go back, right, go back even to the previous, right? When you click on ready to ship, right, Harshal,
Yes.
go to the previous one, right? That's going to drive that particular capability, right? So when you look at it, well, what information you have it and ready to ship. Oh, one more, Harshal, I think it's up. Yeah, this one, right?
Yeah.
So think of this one, right? You're just selecting it. Hey, I have this cartridge with this warranty ID and then this information. Now, when you pull it up, that to ship it, right? Even though the manufacturer may be HP, but the warranty might have been done by a third company, right? So you should be able to select, hey, where does the shipment needs to go? I've selected all those cartridges. It's not necessary it'll always go to HP, right? There could be an intermediary who is selling things. Like, for example, the big corporation like JP Morgan, Nationwide, they will always have a contract, right? So they may have a contract with Staples and say, hey, if there is any warranty issues, I'm shipping this to you. And then you take care wherever you need to send it. So even though the cartridge may be HP or Dell, your vendor could be Staples going into, right? And some warranties, you just send it directly to the manufacturer. So that's what that vendor name it is that where all I want to send the shipment items to.
Dilip, I'm still not confused.
Okay.
Clear with the requirement.
Okay. So if you look at it, right? If I click on here and I'm creating a warranty, right? Let's say I selected the 4 that is highlighted, right? The first one, the fourth, fifth, and sixth. Once I select that and I said, I want to create a shipment package. And then you remember there is a ship to button.
Yes.
Where do you want to ship to? Which vendor you want to do it, right? So if you scroll down, Harshal, on that ship to button.
Right? Yeah, we will choose from that list.
Right. So I'm going to get the list, right? And then I'm going to pick, it could be a vendor 1, it could be vendor 2.
Okay.
So this is where you're assigning the vendors of where the shipment needs to go.
Okay.
Right? And the whole purpose is that, hey, if I'm going to send it 5 things to the same vendor, why not package it?
Yes,
right?
But my question is, according to that requirements, so this list is associated to the vendor we have selected in ship to field.
Yeah, it will populate, right? So when I double, like it's where there are 3 dots, when I click on that, it's going to show up that lookup on the right hand side where Herschel is showing the marker.
Okay.
And then I select a vendor from that, and that gets populated then into the text field.
Ship to fill. Yeah.
Okay, so you mean to say when I will first come into this page, in the ship to list, there will be all the items from
Yes.
page 4. And when I will select ship to a column, I will enter some information here. Then only the items that are supposed to send to the vendor 1 or 2, they will pop up in the ship to list.
No,
Item.
the list, the items to ship is everything that is ready to be shipped.
Okay.
It's not vendor dependent.
Okay.
Okay. Where it is that when I click on that ship to field, it will populate. And what it will do it says, okay, you selected this 4 items. Now you're selecting a vendor. Where do you want to send it? And they will select vendor 1. And then it'll get populated. And when it generates the shipment tracking information, it'll says, hey, this 4 item needs to go to this vendor.
Okay. Can you read the 6.12.2 business rule and make it more clear with?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Once you select the items, right, it says that list is going to be show only that is ready to ship. And then they're associated, right? So if I go scroll it up, right? Let's say I selected 4 particular items, right?
So first we are going to select, or first we are going to?
First, you're going to select the vendor.
Okay.
Right?
Let's say you
and let's say,
this.
Yeah. So let's say you selected vendor 1. Okay. And when you select that, it's going to say, hey, what all items are eligible to be shipped to this vendor? Right? And it could be a mix of different cartridges. It doesn't have to be the same cartridge. It's every item that is ready to ship that you associated with that particular vendor. Because remember, when I do a warranty processing, right? If you go into the warranty field or like it's processing cartridge, that is already information about which vendor is supporting this warranty.
Yes.
Right? And it could be different for different cartridges, or it could be one vendor supporting multiple type of cartridges. Does that make sense?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Getting this.
So think of it, right? When I received it, when I'm processing for warranty, I'm selecting which vendor is responsible to process this warranty, right? Let's say if I have a warranty from HP, I'll select HP as a vendor from where this thing is coming. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Once I select that and create a warranty, right? Ready to ship information is created. When I come to this particular screen and I click on that ship to button, it is going to show me up every vendor, okay, where the shipment is eligible to be sent. Once I select a given vendor, let's say I select a vendor 1, then this list is going to show up every cartridge that should go to vendor 1.
Okay, so you mean to say this list will like get updated?
It will get changed depending on which vendor I selected.
Okay, so initially when I will come to this screen, so in the items to ship list, there will be all
should
the
be
cartridges.
Empty. It should be all the cartridges, but as soon as I click on that particular vendor, it'll show up the vendor list, right, which is on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And then when I select a vendor, that list is going to be filtered down to the ones that I could send to that particular.
Okay, so
vendor.
out of those, we can choose like maybe there are 10 cartridges, but we want to just send only 5.
Precisely.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Because you have to know what all cartridges is going to go which vendor. And then I select it in shipment.
Okay.
Now things do get complex in the real life or in the systems. I mean, sometimes from the processing standpoint.
Okay. So can we go to page 45?
Page 45. Okay, let's up here.
Yes. So it's in the event.
Okay, events.
Yes. So event AO2 or AO3.
Okay.
Yeah. So like initially we were on page FO6, and when we save the data, then that list is coming to this page, current page.
Yes.
All right.
So if I click the select button, it says that it will takes to page FO6
Yep.
and is pre-populated with the information from the associated record.
Right.
So we already get that information and come to this page. Then what's the purpose of going back to that?
No. So when you click on select, right, you're just saying, hey, I'm going to select the shipment package. And you can go ahead and modify or remove cartridges or add a cartridges to it.
Okay.
Right? So
Yes.
one is the new. That means I'm creating a new shipment package altogether. The other one is, hey, I've created that shipment package before I need to go and change it. Or I need to click on that and look into all the details for that.
So it's for the, if we want to make some changes in the current shipment.
Right. And again, I have to look at it. I don't remember whether the requirement calls you that you can change it or not, but at least select will give you a view into that list. And that's why it's going to back to that FO6, which says,
Yep.
hey, when I selected this particular array, it has contained this 5 cartridges.
Okay, just to see like what are the 5 cartridges, because
Right.
in the requirements, it doesn't say we can update or edit the
Right.
information.
Yeah, then it is like I can go and select it and look into it, right?
Okay.
The other one is like, it's, hey, I'm going to create a document from it so that I can look at it as a manifesto or send it through some sort of API to the vendor.
It's a array. It's a document that goes along with the shipment, right? Generally, you print out what are the items included.
Yes.
So that's the document they are talking about here. In the either you email it to somebody or PDF, but again, they will have a 1 copy in the box itself. So.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And I think that document, what it looks like, you can see it in somewhere here. This is what they are talking about, shipping document in the particular format. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else has anything on this particular business process type of modules? Okay. Let's move on to the other modules. What we'll do is
that filter phrase field.
yes. So filter phrase here, right? Let's talk about. It doesn't matter. I think filter phrase is same, kind of like a similar for other modules.
Can you explain it for F25? I have some other doubts on that.
F25.
So there is yes, there is also a filter phrase on that page.
Okay.
Yeah, same one.
So if you think while Herschel is pulling it up, right? Typically filter phrases, like it tells you on what phrase you want to filter things to it. So remember, like you have a search list. And then when you search it, it'll show up only the criteria that matches that search string. And that's what typically the pattern for the filter phase is used. Now, if you look into this particular screen, right? Let's say I go ahead and put a administrator as my search criteria, right?
Let me see if it's filter phrase is here. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it just says that, hey, what exactly the phrase that will be used to filter that. So what you are seeing here is an algorithm, right? It one just says that, hey, give me all the record, right? Where RN, which is a role name, is like FP, right? So if I just put only administrator and click on search, it's going to give me every roles which has administrator in it. So whether it's a warranty administrator or inventory administrator or shipping administrator, it'll show me all those roles.
So if
Right.
I say, if I put in subscribe or just like a, yeah, administrator here, right? So you will get these two items at the top because they both have administrator in the name in there.
So it's a way to narrow it down. When you have so many things and you want to narrow it down to few, then you just use the filter phrase.
So
Again,
in
it's
the-
a search criteria. That's all it is. Search criteria.
Okay.
I mean,
so
you
we
had
can
it in
search
Alpha.
anything, right? Cartridge name or
Yeah.
name
Yeah.
of a particular
Well,
vendor.
no. So if you look at it, right, in this scenario for this screen,
Mhm.
right, and you will have similar rules for a filter phrase for every screen. But in this screen, it just says that, hey, I'm going to search based on wherever it meets the role name, right? So which will be the first column. It won't try to like it's match anything that is administrator in the type. It'll just do it only in the name.
Okay.
Yep.
Now other screen may define different rules for the search criteria.
Yeah. So this one is a code list. Again, this is similar to the other one. So code type and code list here. This is a very straightforward one. But let me see here. One more.
I think it's page 56.
56.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. What module is this? Okay. Credit received filter phrase, right? So let's take a look at that rule here. Okay.
There it is. So here it's trying to like it's collect a whole bunch of information, and based on that, it's going to show the filter, right? So there are things which is like status is involved, RA number is involved, shipment tracking number is involved, vendor name and status, right? And that is a rule that they've put it like display, show me all the records where S2 equal to ST, which is whatever the status is for one particular element is same as the status. And then RA is like FP, which is RA number is similar to the filter phrase, or shipment tracking number is similar to filter phrase, or a vendor name is similar to filter phrase, right? So it's going to look for all three fields. Instead of just one field, it's going to give you RA number, tracking number, and warranty number, and says, hey, as long as any one of them matches, then it'll show up. So for example, if I'm doing 125, it'll show up all of the top three tracking number. Okay, in this case, the other ones doesn't have 125, otherwise it'll show up that too.
Yeah, warranty ID has 125 at the here.
Right, but it also has a tracking number, which is 125. So
right,
the sample data,
that's
but
it's the
otherwise,
same. Yeah.
yeah, otherwise it will pick it up either the first row, second row, and third row and show up all three of them because all three will match the criteria.
So it's a combination of
Yeah.
fields.
So
for
think
searching.
about it. It's kind of like you're going into Amazon and just says, hey, I want to search for certain thing, like certain book name, right? It'll show up that book name as long as it's in the book or it's in a publisher or it's a author, it'll show up that all three books. Similar rule here. As long as it shows up in any one of the field, it'll show up like RA, tracking number, or warranty ID.
So it's like a search, but in
It
the
is like search, but this one is like this or this or this.
Yeah. So it will we can figure out it from the rules.
Right. Most of the filter phrase, the whole purpose of that is you can narrow it down the list that it's going to be displayed as part of the results, right? So in this case, warranty processing list result could be 500 rows. Well, if I want to reduce it down to, let's say, 5 rows, well, what filter search I'm going to use it? I'll just put that and it'll show up only those 5. And then it's much more easier when I have 5 to select one, versus if it's 500, I have to scroll down to figure out which one I wanted.
Okay.
Harshal, so earlier we were on page FO5. We did FO5, FO6.
Okay.
So on the page FO5, we had a warranty shipping list. Like on page FO6, we were saving the warranties, the shipments, and then that data was going to page FO5. Then this is page F25. Like I did not find like how would I come to this page?
So,
So-
these are administrative.
Okay, because
Yeah.
here on the header bar, it's showing under shipping.
So,
Oh, yeah,
Dimple,
yeah. These are not admin pages. Yeah, these are the user pages. Yep.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So Dimple, here is what I always do it, and that has found me a lot more helpful. And this is what I was pointing out earlier in the session today, is you need to know what page or action triggers the follow-up page and what is that page is going to look like, right? So
Yes.
look through the description and draw just a simple chart and says, hey, F25, when somebody clicks on this button, I go to F15. F5, if I press this button, it can go to F01. If I press the second button, it'll go to F04. So you have to create that map almost in order to understand how the information is flowing. Okay.
Yes.
So
but-
that's what I would do it is I would it's put a pen and paper and
okay.
I'll start drawing, hey, what all things triggers me to come to this page and what all things that can be triggered by this page.
But like when we were saving the data on page FO6, that was going to FO5. So all the
Again,
buttons.
Here is
Yes.
what I would recommend. Right? I understand where the data goes in, but even before the data, you need to figure it out how the pages are flowing. And then you can figure it out. Hey, if I process this, what data is flowing from this page to that page? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Dimple, just to simplify for you, right? So this activity happens after you just send a shipment out, right? Because this is where you are marking it, whether do I receive a credit or not, and so forth. What shipment I have sent them. So that's what they are doing here. If they say credit received, then they will just mark it and be done with it. It's just additional tracking after the shipment is sent.
So on the element E01,
Yep.
it says possible values are all new sent to, according to
Yep.
this is not only after we send the shipment.
Mhm.
So according to this, there are all the shipments, even maybe which are not sent, because it says the possible values are all new, like that.
All new sent to customer credit received mark as credit received are no longer considered active in the shipment. So this item basically happens after you send out the information only, because that's what this module is about.
Yes.
Yeah. So once you send it, then you will be able to see the status,
Okay.
and you can filter out what was sent and what items we sent. That's the whole purpose. You have this docs, so you can regenerate those
Yes.
items as well, and so where you sent it and so forth. And let's see if they have anything else for the select as well. Yeah, see customer credit completed, right? So that's where you will come to this screen afterwards.
Yes.
And you can save the information. It's kind of like updating the status. What
Yeah.
happened?
So here on this
afterwards.
screen, it says it's either customer credit completed.
Yep.
And other is sent to vendor, like that. So in
Yeah,
this,
because the send to vendor would be there.
yes.
Right. send to customer,
Yeah,
because that's
send
what
to
you will
customer,
see
yes.
potentially, because
Yes.
that's what the original status would be. But you can send it once you receive the credit. You can say
Mm.
customer credit completed at that point.
So then the list on the previous page is only supposed to be either sent to customer or credit received, not all or new.
Yeah, it shouldn't be all or new. Yes, that's correct. Yep. Because
Okay.
there's a discrepancy. Looks like they have it in the document
Yes.
as well. Yep. So you are on the
Okay.
right track, Limbo. Yep. Okay.
So if we have on page 58, so there is a event AO2.
Let me go there. 57. EO2. Okay. SIP2
Yes.
level.
No, it's AO2. It's
Oh,
event.
AO2. Okay. Events. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So
Print docs.
yes, so in AO1, so it's
Mhm.
again navigating to shipment page. So if the shipments have already been sent,
Right.
then what's the purpose of going back there?
No, this one is opening a shipment document, right? That's what it's referring to.
AO2 is opening shipment document, and AO1 is navigating to the shipment page.
Shipment details page F46. So let's
It's
come
just
back
for
here.
the clarification, like if we want to see something
Sure.
else.
Let me just check it here. So what it's saying is it will come back here. So again, that flow is not clear, right? In the document, how do they go to that page from here? That flow doesn't look like there is a disconnect there somewhere in the document. So once they save the information, they can go back. But how do they get to the actual credit
Yes.
piece, right?
Yes.
That's what your real question was.
Yes.
And I think there is a discrepancy here. So that it should be coming from this page, the first initial page, because that's where
But
they will.
this page
Yeah.
even doesn't have.
Yep, it doesn't have it. So they might be missing some additional column
Okay.
or the navigation item. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean that when the document becomes larger, you will have more discrepancy in the document as well.
Okay.
In the flow wise. Yep. But
Okay.
those are good questions. Those are the things you should be looking for in the document. Okay.
Okay.
So is everybody clear about, hopefully you guys are getting the idea about how this system supposed to function, because it's important for you to understand that the functionality of what you are testing and how to go about testing. That's the second part. Once you understand the functionality, then hopefully that will make it more clear as well, how you should go about testing it. Okay. Any other question on the project? Otherwise, Dilip, we can divide up the team as well, because I don't want to wait for Sunday, or we can do it on Saturday as well. It's fine.
Yeah, Harshal, let's do it on Saturday. I want
Saturday, yeah.
everybody else to look through it.
Yeah.
And as we cover the topic, we can just it's divided
Yep.
so that they can start focusing. Because even though they're focusing on one module or two modules or three modules, they still have to understand the whole document in order to do a successful test. So
Yep. That's correct. So I mean, what we recommend is if you haven't read through, I mean, now you still have some time between now and Sunday. So maybe spend some time on the document. I think today it was a good discussion. Hopefully that clarifies a lot of things for you. And Saturday we have different topic to cover. So probably we won't dive into any project item as well. And I owe you guys SQL, so I'll do that. I'll schedule a different session, just one of the Thursday or different date, and we'll work through that SQL part as well. Because I don't think we have enough time now. Roughly about 30 minutes. I would take roughly about almost 2 hours on that thing, so that you can work through. And we will do that. is one of the basically
We'll
maybe
do one of
we
the
do,
Thursday
yeah,
session
one of
for
the
that.
Thursdays. Yep, that's correct. Okay. Okay. So if you don't have, I mean, anybody has anything, any question, I mean, no question is stupid question or anything like that. So feel free to ask. I mean, this is your chance today to ask and work through that.
Shil, can you go to page 103?
103. Okay. 193.
So element E04.
You log in username label.
Yes. So it should be system generated. So
Yep.
there should be any rule for this?
So let's see if they have any rules specified. So it looks like they have certain ways displayed, but it has to be documented, right? So it shows on the screen, but that doesn't mean anything. Okay, so you have to look at the rule to see if they have any rule. So first name, middle name, last name, let's see if they have any business rule or events or anything else. So I'm gonna browse down to see if we have any business rule tied to it. Confirm password. Okay, so it's a big module. Okay, let's see. Role, company name, list, populate events, email address, save, reset password, company wording, checkbox. So I don't see any rule here how the system name, that's username supposed to be generated. Let's go back here one more time. Save button, save the phone number. Okay, so this is the phone number, but there should be a main save. Save the email address. Okay. Is there anything else save? You save the address. Okay. Should be one more save. Role name. So do they have all the events? I'm not sure. Maybe they missed out in the document.
I think about username, there is no rule in this.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, so that's a clarification point. How, if it's system generated, how it's generated, what is the logic or calculation behind it? Because just looking at the screen, it sounds like it's they are doing the first name and the last name, whatever, first character of the first name and last name. But again, it's not written down rule. So you can't take that screen, whatever they have. But if they have to add it, yes, they can say that first name, first character of first name, and then the last name. And for the subsequent one, it should be some numbering scheme associated with that. So if there are two Henry Davidson, then you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, or something like that. Okay.
And can you explain what is this company here? I'm not clear with the view company list. So this is about the users. Admin is entering user into the system.
Yes. So what companies? This system is a little bit different than the Rflown.
Yes.
Here, one user can be part of multiple companies. It's more like a community type of basically system. So there is a trading, not the trading, but I wouldn't use that trading partner type of thing. But think through that user has access to work for too many companies and so forth. And they can only do a data entry for certain companies and vendors and so forth. But I think we would leave that complexity out because that part is kind of like it is there in the document somewhere. They explain it what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
But we'll leave that out because that will make it more complex for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there is another requirement on page 113.
Okay. All right.
It's 6. So it's rule, business rule 623. I think this is something related with the companies.
Role company list is only for with companies who have been privileged or with the member. So as I said, I mean, this is a kind of like a community type of thing. So let's leave this rule out because this could get really complex because the user had then the access and security is tied to that as well, and so forth. What they can do for certain things.
Yep. So there is another module on page 117, admin codes and parameters list page.
117. Yep.
So it's talking about the values like red, blue, green, and it is something related to the like these parameters, package types, email, phone. So I'm not able to link these parameters with the values.
Yeah. So does anybody know what these things are? So if you look at it, right, email address type, just for example. So anywhere that you have email address type, I'm not sure what screen you can see that, but I think it would be on the customer cartridge, sorry, customer list or customer vendor list. You will see the email address type. You will have phone number type, you will have address type, and so forth. So that list, whatever those types are, it comes from this screen. So it's a configurable item, not a fixed list that you will see. So if I add a new item here, let's say I come here and I pick the existing code type. And if I add a new, modify that list and add a brand new code, so conversation type value, so I can add a new value, assuming this is email type. So now I can add it like a Gmail. Previously, I might have, what is it, Microsoft, Hotmail, Outlook type of thing list. Now I can add a Gmail here, pick that list and add a value of Gmail, make and mark it as active. Then it will start showing up everywhere, wherever that drop-down list is referenced or available on the screen for any other module.
So it's only for the like editing purpose?
Yeah, this module is a configuration for those type of drop-downs that are specified here. Basically, so these are the types. So I can on the fly basically edit those values.
So what is this red, blue, green? What these?
Oh, that's just a dummy data. It says conversation type is red, blue, and green. So those three lists, so anywhere that a conversation type is displayed in the system, it will have to contain those three values: red, blue, and green.
Okay. So can you explain this with example, like what is going to do?
So
in the system?
email address type here, right? So let's simple one is address type. Let me come here, like notepad. So you have address type. So what are the address types you could have potentially? So you have home address type, you could have work, like a temporary address type, right? So initially you set up these three in the system in the for that coded for this address type, code type, okay? And then let's say after 1 year or something, maybe after 2 months, you have a new address type, which is called foreign address, okay? So now all you have to do is, instead of modifying the code anywhere, you come here on this module, you pick address type from the list, say filter, and you will end up on the address type screen here.
Okay.
And then you can just simply add a new value called foreign here, and you can put a description as well and mark it active, save. So anywhere this address type is displayed throughout the system, now you will have this new value for pick in the pick list available.
So we don't need to change the address?
No, it's nothing to do with the address. So address has an element called address type. So if I go to the what was the module here? Customer and vendor list, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure what page number was there. Let's see if we can find it quickly. Customer and vendor list. Okay, so this might be it. Address. Okay. So type here, right? So this
Yes.
is so where is the address? So here it's an office.
Mhm.
So it potential values initially it was temporary, home, work, or office. Let's say office as well instead of work, right? So if I add a new value in that list, then the fourth this value will start showing up along with the other items.
Okay.
So I can start saving the address for with the new value as well. Foreign address. I can capture foreign address as well.
Okay. Okay.
Same thing with all these other drop downs. Email. See, it's a office or work or home, whatever it is. Phone is just could be same way.
Okay.
Yep. So if you have to test it, you enter the new value and see if it shows up everywhere, wherever you have this type.
So we have
available.
two modules like this. One is this,
Yep.
and
Yep.
there is one other module.
Yep.
Okay.
So you have to refer to the both modules for the testing because you are creating test data in a second module and then verifying it, does it show up properly or not. Same thing with the customer and vendor list, right? We were talking about.
Yes.
You go and create a brand new customer, see if it shows up in that customer vendor list or in the appropriate list over there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. So anybody else has anything, I guess. Looks like Dilip was dropped. So let me see if he comes back and so hopefully you guys will finish reading the document. Okay.
Hey, Harshal, I'm back. Sorry, my Time Warner, like it's drop all the connections.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yep. So if you haven't read it, I would strongly recommend you guys to suggest you to read it before Sunday. Because Sunday you're not going to be able to read it. You guys will actually get back to work on Sundays, and we'll talk about that on Saturday as well, what you need to do on the project and so forth. So definitely read the document. I'm not sure otherwise if you will be able to contribute to the project if you don't read it, or if you don't understand. So. Okay, then I think we can stop here if you don't have any other question. And as I said, I owe you guys SQL session, which we will do that. And I think we will get back on Saturday. We do have one more topic to cover, which is the Cucumber side of things. And those are for the test automation. So we'll cover that up in the first couple of hours, and then we'll go through the project items and what you guys need to do on the afterwards. Dilip, do you want to add anything else?
Nope. As I said, I think the more you understand the project, the effective you will be in terms of writing the test cases.
Yeah. I think once you understand, I think it's very easier to write it. So put an effort. I think you guys should be all right. Okay, then I think we'll stop here then. See you guys Saturday, usual time, 8:45. And we'll work through the last topic that we have.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a
thank
good day, everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay, good night.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.